even attacks taking
Yeah.
place in different cities within minutes
Let me
of
ask
one
you to
another.
sit there. James Kallstrom, you still with me?
Be with you for another minute or so, Brian.
Okay. The White House has been evacuated. Is that action that's normally taken as precautionary in an attack like this, or is that in direct response, you would think, to a specific threat?
Brian, I would say none of this is normal.
No, you know what I meant.
And I think probably just knowing a little bit that I know, sitting outside now and seeing what's happened here, I think that's probably very prudent.
I'm looking, Mr. Kallstrom and Mr. Jenkins, I'll tell you as we alert everyone else, that I'm looking at a report here from Reuters. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We're looking at a live picture from Washington, and there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon. It would appear that there has been another major explosion, this one in the nation's capital. You are looking at a scene of apparent blast aftermath. There is smoke in the air over the Pentagon. We don't know whether this is the result of a bomb or whether it is yet another aircraft that has targeted a symbol of the United States power, but there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon. This is coming at 9:43 Eastern Time. And we understand. You know about him, and if that surprised.
He is the man who declared the United States to be his enemy. He is a man who regards the United States as sort of a big Satan, the leader of Western civilization. The United States symbolizes, in the eyes of him or people like him, as the epitome of evil in this world because of its history, because
of an issue, build the coalition in support, and as Jim Steinberg has just said, and others have pointed out today, this is not a silver bullet solution where one raid, one attack against one group.
You know about him, and if that surprises you at all in any way.
The problem. This is a systemic response we've got to organize in the weeks and months.
You know about him, and if that surprises you. You know about him, and if that surprises you. You know about him, and if that surprises you.
he's the man who declared the United States to be his enemy.
Here in the first pictures, this is the first aircraft. Flight 11 slamming into the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
And figure out what has happened to their city, what has happened to their lives, and perhaps most importantly, what has happened to their friends and their co-workers who may not have gotten out of those buildings today. One of the problems...
After that attack, another plane appears and also flies directly into the second of the Twin Towers. That aircraft, later identified as a Boeing 757 belonging to United Airlines. It had been hijacked while it was en route from Boston to Los Angeles.
Really safe to send someone into that space?
I don't know that it will ever be safe. I think the rescue people that are in there trying to save people are very much at risk, as they always are in these kinds of disasters. That the structure is always, when you have a pile of rubble like this, the structure is always somewhat unstable. So those rescue workers that are...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Yes. My fellow Americans, a historic and unprecedented event has occurred.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
Here in the first pictures, this is the first aircraft. Flight 11 slamming into the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers,
It was completely dark.
moms and dads, friends and neighbors.
Standing next to One World Trade Center, and then all of a sudden I heard rumbling, and we all started running away from it. The glass blew out and threw me onto the sidewalk, and I couldn't see for 20 seconds. And then I started seeing vaguely the street.
Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror.
We just heard another explosion.
The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings
Arranged for you as you watch that airplane come in, the second one into the tower of the World Trade Center.
fires burning, huge structures collapsed.
We have to get deeper. We have to drill down and find out what has really happened here, what violated our security, why we had so little intelligence about this. We have a whole big issues ahead of us. All of the old issues, I think, are going to fade until we resolve this particular problem.
Have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel. But they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans.
We began to implement it immediately after the first attack in New York this morning. We contacted American forces and embassies throughout the world and placed them on high alert.
Our military is powerful, and it's prepared.
Who else knows about this? SCTI in New Mexico identified a signal, but they're even more confused than we are, sir. Excuse me. Major? Yes, sir. Radar reception has been impaired, but we were able to get these.
Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts.